All right, so closing things off, we're going to learn our first new activation and our first new loss. Okay? So a little bit ahead of when I planned it, let's meet our second activation function. The first activation function being tan h, right? The hyperbolic tangent. All right? Softmax is our new activation function. Softmax is defined like this. Another name for it is the normalized... Just heard a buzz or something. It's weird. The normalized exponent. Looking at it, can we see why it is called the normalized exponent? Right? So I should say J is an index over all of the inputs, right? So, or all of the elements, right? So if this... right, is... excuse me. So if this is the input, then the output looks like this. And I don't know why I'm writing this out in hindsight, because, right, and so this is one of them, and then the next one is the e to the 0.5 over that, and then the third one is e to the 0. E to the 0. So the second one is e to the 0.8 over this, and then the third one is e to the 0.5 over this, right? Now, if you look at this kind, if you look at everything I've written here, and you say, "What the hell?" Don't worry. We have entered the era. You don't need to do this math. We have entered the era where TensorFlow will do everything for us. So if you don't know what the hell this is, you're fine, right? TensorFlow will do it for you. So after applying, so it's kind of named for a reason. After you apply it, the largest input is still the largest output, but all of the elements are normalized so that they all sum to 1. Okay? And I should say, they are all in the range 0 to 1, and they all sum to 1. This makes softmax a good choice when we want to interpret our outputs as a bunch of probabilities, which is exactly what we want to do for classification problems, right? If our output is supposed to be probability of membership in each category, right, then a function that takes some input that is not in that range and maps it into that range is very convenient. And I actually have no idea if this is the softmax of this. Probably not, right? But this is the kind of thing that it does, right? Oh, and actually, so if we did it like that, it would actually look more like, well, whatever. So if we did it, so I said it, okay. Let me try that again. So if I want something like this to be the output, the input needs to look something like this. Because again, right, it keeps the relative sizes. So this is the smallest input, so it stays the smallest output. This is the biggest input, so it stays the biggest output. And again, I have no idea if this is really the softmax of this, probably not. But this is the kind of thing that it does. It takes this, where the inputs are not in the range 0 to 1 and don't sum to 1, and it normalizes it to this, where the inputs are in the range 0 to 1, but the biggest, and they still sum to 1. Oh, I did that wrong too. It should be 7. Should be 7. All right, now they sum to 1, right? So where they all sum to 1 and the biggest is still the biggest, right? So these are your pre-activations, and then these are your activations interpreted as a probability. Whew, I did that a little bit rough, all right? Now might be a good time for me to actually get Spider and just show you what that ends up doing, so you won't have to worry, like you won't have to watch me have to correct myself after I screw up.